Hey guys, this is John Rivera from GamingInstincts.com, and welcome to my Let's Play of the Biohazard April 8th, 1995 prototype build. So yeah, this is an incomplete version of Resident Evil back basically a year before its release. Now if you notice in this intro, there's going to be like a little bit of tearing. I'm unable to do anything about it. That's just the actual build of the game itself. It's not been optimized at this point in history. And you'll notice right here that there's a completely different title screen for Biohazard or Resident Evil. It's very basic. I actually like it. It's got a very simplistic, it's a very blunt looking title screen. Of course, this was before they actually added the full motion video sequences. Now this build features some pretty interesting differences between it and the final product. And if you guys are curious as to, oh yeah, and there are going to be some graphical glitches. It's interesting. This game actually constantly changes resolution for some reason. For what reasons I know not, but if you guys are curious as to how I'm actually running this, I'm actually using a Wii that's been modified to run all sorts of emulators, and one of them actually runs PS1 games. So that's how I'm actually playing this prototype, and this is how I'm also going to play the other prototype, because this playthrough is actually kicking off a series of Let's Plays in which I'm going to explore all the Resident Evil titles that I have at my disposal. And that includes the first one, which I'll be playing on the Sega Saturn, because that was the one that I grew up playing. A lot of people might remember the PS1 version. Saturn was my system of choice back then. And here we have it. You can only play as Chris Redfield in this build, and only the first floor is available for some reason, and I think that's because they weren't able to finish the entire, at least the entire mansion. The guardhouse obviously is not going to be in here. Neither is the Umbrella Laboratory. But here we have the basic ingredients, the building blocks. So with the D-pad, by the way, the D-pad on the GameCube controller is kind of crappy. So if you see me fumbling my way through the environments, it's because of this D-pad. It's just not the best one I've ever used. Okay, so we can't go outside. Now what's interesting about this version is, in order to run, you don't press the cancel button with up on the D-pad. That yields no effect, just makes your character walk again. You actually have to double tap up and hold down up on the D-pad to engage and sustain a run. It's not comfortable, especially with this D-pad, and they probably knew that they kind of made a mistake with that. So they ended up dropping that for the final release, opting for holding the cancel button plus the up on the D-pad. No sound effects when he turns left or right. And another thing that's interesting about this build is that there is no menu whatsoever. So you can't check if you have any supplies. In fact, ammo is infinite, so I can just fire this perpetually forever, and it won't really make much of a difference. Yeah, here's an interesting feature. Pressing circle will actually cycle through a series of weapons, so here, let me try to get closer so I can show you. As you can see, the compression on the pre-rendered backgrounds is pretty intense. Even with the filters of the emulator, these backgrounds are very, very, very basic. As you can see, they're very low res, and there aren't many colors used on any of these textures. Really, the most detail that you see is actually on Chris Redfield's model. So if we press the circle button, now we have access to the shotgun. Let's see. Now he's unarmed. And here we have the knife. Interesting thing about this knife, you do not have to hold R1 like the other weapons to ready it. Like, so here we have the pistol. I'm holding down R1 to ready my pistol, and then pressing square, not X for some reason, but square to fire off a shot. Like I said, ammo is infinite in this build. The shotty. And then, for some reason, R1 does nothing. Absolutely nothing. He just stands there in his idle animation. I can just simply press square, and he does it. I don't know. They obviously made that change somewhere late in development to where you can actually aim the knife upward, downward. All right, switch back to my shotgun. Another change, triangle in this build accesses doors. Oh, get it. Alright, so aiming upward yields no effect. So I guess the hit detection in this is a little tighter than the final version. Whoa! See, I was just like straight up like, oh, I was aiming. Whoa, what in the world? No, that's not. That's interesting. He has no head. Now, as you can see right here, Chris Redfield is backing up in terror. I always thought that was an awesome feature. I wonder what the zombie's gonna do. He can't bite me. He has no head. I'm not gonna lie, I've never had this happen to me ever while playing this build. Most interesting. Alright. I mean, that made no sense. Just a prototype, folks. As you can see right here, I haven't really even gone into how different the backgrounds are from the final version. So if you look at the dining room, it's very, very, very different. And there are some, if you can tell, there are some inconsistencies between various camera angles. As you can see at the bottom of this screen right here, at this camera angle, you'll notice that there is like what appears to be, or maybe that's actually just the edge of the floor on the second floor, where the railing stops. That could be what's going on, but it's a little deceptive. Actually, you know what that is? That's actually what it is, because Chris Redfield is actually moving underneath it. It's its own separate layer that takes priority over the character model as well as the background. That's cool and all. It's just very deceptive. And as you can see, the color palette of this room is slightly changed. And in general, if you look at the backgrounds, they're extremely basic. Just the quality of them are just not that great. A lot of that has to do with the lack of, I guess, color options with the textures. I mean, it's just very basic. I mean, at the most, maybe 5 or 6 colors per surface. And then on top of that, you also have to think about this. Look at, like, the low resolution. I mean, this is incredibly, like, let's move Chris Redfield right here. I mean, you can see the jagged lines. And I'm pretty sure they did not figure out how to do reflections. Yeah, you don't really see a reflection in that window. Let's go into this room. I'm pretty sure there's a Hunter Alpha in here. where Forrest's body would have been in the final version. Yep. Hey, what's up, buddy? Piss off. Alrighty. By the way, you can totally die in this build. So this is where Forrest's body would have been in the final version of Resident Evil or Biohazard. But as you can see, he's no longer here. He is in this build, but he's in a different spot. So let's go through the motions and try to access whichever doors we can access. It's interesting. You press triangle to access a door, then you get this prompt, or you gain access to the following chamber, and then you press any other button to cancel the dialogue, but not circle. Circle does nothing. X and square do something. It's just a very awkward. It's a very awkward system. I'm going to show you another feature. I know that emulation is kind of like it's a legal gray area, but I feel like the preservation of gaming history is a little more important than that. It's something that people don't really take seriously, but I do. So let's check this out. I can actually engage in quick turns, whether they be 45-degree or 180-degree quick turns. For some reason the game changed to resolution again. So if I double tap left or right on the D-pad, Chris Redfield will do a quick turn. It's not very intuitive, but it is there. Now in the final version of Biohazard, the quick turn was kind of it was basically automated. You would quick turn to, like, when you drew your weapon, you would quick turn in the direction of the nearest enemy, and that feature was for some reason cut out of the final version of Resident Evil for North America. And the theory behind that pretty much like suggests that they were trying to get more video rental money out of that title. So Capcom USA changed it up to add more enemies, make them more resilient to damage, and to basically remove the quick turn right here. I mean, this is a very useful feature. It could have been in the franchise as early as Resident Evil 1, but they ended up removing it for the North American distribution of the game. It just made no sense to me. And when you see me play Resident Evil 1 for the Sega Saturn, or if I were to play it for the PlayStation, if it was the vanilla version of Resident Evil, it would have been no different. There would have been no quick turns in it. Okay, so this door cannot be accessed. Now, I'm pretty sure that enemies respawn in this build. So here we have the piano room, the bar room. As you can see, the colors are slightly different from the final version. There are there are like simply no puzzles in this build whatsoever. So there's no sheet music here or music notes here. Obviously, the loading door right here does not match the door in the room, which I guess is fine. Yep, he respawns. Oh! No! Piss off. Okay. And also, this music never stops, so I apologize for the monotony. Huh. Oh! What's up, buddy? Okay. So, as you can see, it's definitely rough around the edges. Oh, there's Jill Valentine. I have no idea what she's saying. But she's basically preventing me from going upstairs, because upstairs has not been finished. That's the door to the other wing. I believe this is the room with the mirror. Yep. So obviously they did not figure that out just yet, so... Yep. I love that fainting back animation. That's awesome. I'm actually just going to camp here, because I've taken quite a few hits, and I have no idea how much life I have left. So... Oh, here he comes. What's up? Come on. And the game just randomly changed resolution again. Oh! God, this run... I mean, the run in this prototype is borderline insufferable. Now I'm doing the quick turn by accident. Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how infuriating this D-pad is. I thought it sucked back then, and I still think it sucks now. Now this room, I'm sure you guys can tell if you guys are seasoned Resident Evil 1 players. You guys can probably tell how different and I guess how much worse this looks objectively speaking compared to the final version. It looks quite a bit worse. For a couple of reasons. The colors are just very, very much on the bland side. There are only like a few of them used on each surface. And on top of that, they didn't even, like, look, for example, I'll walk behind here. Like, you can still see the outline of the pillar. Like, it's actually still got some of the floor texture attached to the image that's supposed to be an overlay to act as a partition. You can still see the outline, the white dots or the light colored pixels along the edge of that pillar, or that Roman column. Alright, here we go. There's some Z-ordering going on right here. Z-ordering bugs. And, yeah, there's Forrest. I found him. Interesting fact, he's actually not a part of the environment. He's not an overlay that's pre-rendered, like, pre-rendered CG. This is actually a polygonal model. You know what's crazy about it is, like, here, let me go back so you can see his face in its entirety. So you can see half of his face is eaten, like in the final version, but it's the other half. Because when he's laying on the floor, he's laying the other way around. So it would have been, what? It would have been his left side that was eaten off. In this case, it's his right side of his face that's been eaten off. It's this side. Interesting. Also, if you look at his body, you can tell that he has no legs. So his legs were partially devoured, which is really messed up. Alright, there's another... There we go. He's done. Alright, so here there would be a ribbon for use on a typewriter to save my game, but obviously this early in the game's development, the save feature was not implemented just yet. And here, let me actually go back out to the main lobby so I can show you that there's no end table where the typewriter is. Yeah, see, it's no longer here. Usually there would have been a table right here with a typewriter and a couple of ink ribbons. Alright, time to go to the other wing. I mean, as you can see with the 3D models, like with Chris Redfield, the Z ordering is out of control. The issues concerning like Z ordering, like basically the drawing of polygons in terms of their priority, like in terms of which ones should be displayed before others. Like you see, there's just a lot of jankiness. It's like very, very rickety. You can see polygons in his neck pop in and out of existence, and it's because I guess the 3D at this point in development was not as clean. And there's a giant spider. What's up, buddy? Come on. It's great. Infinite ammo. Oh, piss off. These little tiny spiders will kill me. Oh. Alright, here is a good chance, there's a great opportunity to show the graphics of Resident Evil, the prototype at work. So like I said, like the Z ordering situation is just out of control. And they're obviously using some form of dithering to kind of make it look like there are more colors being displayed than there actually are. Yeah, look at this. Look at the shotgun. How like 2 of the polygons are poking through Chris Redfield's forearm. I mean, that's bad. I mean, that's insanely bad. But even like here you can see parts of his vest are popping and protruding out, and they shouldn't be. And the same thing is obviously happening with other segments of his body, like his the first segment of his arm is poking through his humerus area. Every time I actually swap or toggle through weapons or cycle through them, the game actually momentarily pauses for some reason. Like, if there was music playing, it would actually hit a snag. Always thought that was a badass idle animation. Alright, and just for posterity, you see those shotgun shells ejecting from the breech of the shotty. Those are actually 2D sprites being animated. It's actually, there's no 3D in that. But they do, like the enemies and weapon pickups in Doom, they exist in 3D. So it's like this weird 2.5D effect that they're doing with this. And also, as you can tell, there's no muzzle flare. Or muzzle flash. Nothing of that sort. Let's see. The knife, which looks incredibly basic. But, I mean, to be fair, it might look exactly the same as the final version of the knife. And here we have... Okay. That's another issue this prototype has. Like, they didn't iron out how to keep the action from transitioning from one screen to the other mid-encounter, mid-situation. So sometimes you'll find yourself, you know, switching from one angle to the other spontaneously, just going from one animation to the other, like that. I go into the animation, and his hitbox just nudges on the invisible like collision box that enables the transition from one screen to the next. And then going back to his idle animation, his just regular relaxed at ease animation triggers the camera to toggle to this perspective once again. So just the growing pains of trying to get the system to get to scale properly, to actually function the way it needs to. So that way you don't have that happening to you during like a heated firefight or combat situation. I mean, it still happens in most of the vintage Resident Evil games, but it doesn't happen to a point where it is infuriating. In here, it's kind of infuriating. It can be, at least. Now, the color palette of this room has kind of changed a little bit. Unfortunately, nothing can really be investigated. Alright, we're getting close. Like I said, I apologize for the tearing and the spontaneous changes in resolution, but that's how this prototype was initially designed, so here we have the room with the crushing ceiling. Alright, so obviously I'm not going to take the shotgun because I already have a shotgun, and if I take it, the crushing ceiling will kill me, and I will not be showing that in this video. Yeah, like I said, like every other room, there are slight differences in the color palette, and also just, like I said, every single room or pre-rendered background and, overlay just has a very low-res look to it. And as far as I've experienced in this build, there are no healing supplies whatsoever. Switch to my shotgun. Okay, this door cannot be accessed. Oh, hey, what's up, dude? You're totally not playing dead at all. And there we go. Aha. Stop. Come on. Okay. Yeah. Oh. I have no idea what's happening. Alright. Oh. Yep. So I guess I alerted the rest of the ravens to my presence. Here goes nothing. Nope. Right. Oh! Piss off! Oh! gotta be kidding me with this. Can't be serious with this. Oh my gosh, you gotta be... Trying not to swear. Really trying not to swear. Oh, come on. Yeah, I know. Finally. God, this damn D-pad. Like, trying to do the quick turn is just like, it's like trying to pull off a Hadouken. Just like not working. Oh, that was bull crap right there. Oh, it's you again. What's up? Shoot, that headless zombie latching onto me. I did not expect that. That's never happened to me once. There's a hunter alpha here. Yep. Oh! Are you dead? Oh, it's got that elongated animation where it's like, I don't want to die. Mom. Yeah. As you can see, there's no puzzle where you have to put in, like, of course, the resolution spontaneously changed on me again. There's no puzzle in here where, there's like a puzzle with 5 crests that you had to throw in, and that would allow you to gain access to the guardhouse from here. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And I'm pretty sure this is where our prototype ends, so... Oh, shit. To be continued. And that, my friends, concludes my Let's Play of the Biohazard / Resident Evil April 8th, 1995 prototype build. And here we have this glorious mid-90s Capcom animation splash screen logo, whichever you want to call it. As you could see like some artifacting around the Capcom logo, indicating that the compression rate of this was pretty intense. Obviously, this is just a static image. There's no full motion video happening right here. So, but yeah, that pretty much concludes my playthrough of this prototype build of Biohazard, aka Resident Evil, and it's interesting. It's a very interesting piece of gaming history, and it proves that the quick turn in Resident Evil was in there from almost the very beginning. So, I mean, this is basically a good year and some change before the game actually saw the light of day in North America. So, yeah, pretty interesting. I might do another video on this just to see what else I can uncover. Many apologies for the tearing and the spontaneous changes in resolution, but I mean, that's, like I said, that's how the prototype was designed from the get-go. So anyway, this is John Rivera signing off for GamingInstincts.com, saying thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys are looking forward to my playthrough of Resident Evil 1 for the Sega Saturn. It'll definitely be interesting. I've not played the game in quite some time. It's been years. And the same thing pretty much goes for Resident Evil 2, Code Veronica, and, well, Resident Evil 6 I do have experience with, but to me it's just another third-person shooter. I know it's gonna make people kind of upset, but I'm not terribly fond of Resident Evil 6 or 5. And to be fair, I have a lot of respect for Resident Evil 4, but that's a game I don't particularly enjoy. So, actually, no, that might be extreme. I do enjoy that game, but I enjoy it for reasons that I I don't see in the other Resident Evil games, the vintage ones from 1, 2, 3, and Code Veronica. I mean, those are just solid titles, top to bottom. So yeah, look forward to me playing through those games. And as another bonus, I am definitely going to be looking at Resident Evil 1.5. I have possession of one of the builds. I believe I have possession of the 40% build, the vanilla version. It's incredibly unstable. It's got some jank to it, but it's incredibly important because it's almost a completely different game from the final version of Resident Evil 2. So after I play through Resident Evil 1 for the Sega Saturn, you guys will get to see a version of that game that you possibly have not seen ever. And then after that, I'm going to play through Resident Evil 1.5, what sections of it are actually playable, and then I'll try to do the same thing that I did with this prototype that I'm going to do with 1.5, which is kind of isolate certain areas and kind of just point out the differences between the build, the prototype, and the final product. So look forward to that. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.